You know, everybody has their own separate sort of path to art making, and mine is a little unique in that I didn't even start making art till 10 years ago. I'd like to talk a little bit about the basics of the work, because really when I found clay as a material, you know, it does a lot of wonderful things. But one of the things that I really related to my art history background was the fact that, you know, when you're studying art history and certainly archaeology and anthropology, you look at ceramics as that one material culture that you can go back and it's sort of the thing that you can dig up after centuries and find out all about the culture that produced that work. And from that I think about what I term a taxology of memory, which is just used borrowing a scientific term to sort of organize and compartmentalize levels of memory. First starting with the clay and its sort of geological DNA, and then a lot of times I use images or carvings of single-celled animals and simple worms and that kind of thing to sort of refer to our biological beginnings, our biological memory, if you will. And then I think about our historical or cultural memory. Everything sort of gets smaller and smaller. Cultural memory and historical memory, familial memory and personal memory. And that's the kind of thing that I'm working with in my work. That's how I think about the whole, that's sort of the background for the whole body of work. Yeah. But this is coiled. It's all coiled work.
Oh, wow.
I don't use any armatures or any molds or anything in the main form of the piece. I do a tiny bit of sketching, but not a lot. Like this is the most sketching I would ever do. Something like that. And then all I would do is just write down a couple of things that I want to include, you know, or something like this. Like this is this piece right here. So I know the general shape, but eventually I depend a lot on my intuition and letting the whole thing be free enough to develop from a certain point on. And I really can't control it that much because a lot of it depends on how much negative space I take out. I've got to make sure that it's still going to stand, it's going to have structural integrity. There's a whole vocabulary of imagery that I use over and over again. Bones, branches, single-celled creatures, DNA strands, trees, roots. And these kinds of things I use them to help develop the narratives that you can sort of read from the juxtaposition of them on the sculptures.